Hello, and thanks for stopping by. The Miami Hurricanes have landed a verbal commitment from four-star safety prospect Zaquan Patterson, number 3 ranked safety in that 2024 class, a top 100 prospect overall, according to the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things. I'm going to talk about the type of player that I think he is from watching him in person, and some things that I've noticed from watching him on film. Also, I want to talk about where Zaquan fits in at Miami, his first season in 2024. And then also big picture, where he kind of lands with Miami's recruiting class, how he fits in, what it means for the recruiting class as a whole. First off, talking about him as a player. There's something that stood out to me that I found to be interesting in an article on the Sun Sentinel, and that's the fact that Zaquan said he tries to pattern his game after Jalen Ramsey. Certainly, Jalen has been highly successful at the NFL level and at the college level as kind of a dual threat guy that can cover, can hit, can do different things at the cornerback spot, a bigger corner, just a guy that makes plays. And I think that's great for Zaquan to kind of pattern his game after somebody like that. So that's good to hear and good to know. There were 2 things in particular that stood out to me from watching Zaquan play on the 7-on-7 circuit for DEF CON. And that's that on defense is that he lined up at cornerback, which was great to see because I do think he is a safety at the next level. But it's just great to see him line up at cornerback on the outside, guard receivers one-on-one, did a good job in the games that I saw him play, covering guys, running with guys, showing his athleticism and his speed at that spot. So that's good to see. Again, I think he's a safety, no doubt about that. About 6 foot 185, 6 foot 6'1", in that range in terms of his size. As you can see on the video, he does have good bulk to him, good athleticism, in addition to good size. But I like the fact that he can kind of play corner if you need him to. And I think he can kind of handle his own there, even though I do think he is a safety. And then the other thing that I like seeing from that 7-on-7 circuit is that he would flip to the other side of the ball. He'd play wide receiver and not just run routes. He would make catches. He would score touchdowns. He was just a true playmaker on the offensive side of the ball, which you like to see from guys that are really good prospects. Again, I think he's a safety, but it's just good seeing that playmaking ability. And that's something that I think stands out to me from watching him at Chaminade, where he's won a couple state championships. He's been a top flight player. Last year, 74 tackles, 8 for a loss. He also had 2 interceptions, 3 sacks, and then 5 block punts, which I will get to in a second. But again, you like the fact that he's a playmaker, and I really find that to be very important for not just all defensive players, but in particular at that safety spot, because you're asked to do so much. So clearly his tackle numbers show that he's a physical player, and I really like that he's got that ability to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Again, a playmaker that makes plays, gets sacks as well. So you can kind of move him around if you needed to, maybe some safety blitz stuff. I touched on the cornerback stuff earlier. So you've got some position versatility with his ability to make plays on different spots on the field. 2 interceptions, sure, you'd like that number to be higher. Safety interceptions are a little bit difficult at times, especially at the high school level. It depends on kind of where you're at, if you're covering the field, if teams are going to test you or not. And we will see. The big thing with that is just continue to work on his hands. You definitely want to be able to cover ground, get pass breakups, which is not included in his junior season stats. But you just want to make sure that he's able to cover ground and defend the pass because, again, safety, you're asked to do so much. And I think he's going to be a versatile guy that can do different things. As I mentioned, you can line him in different spots, but I think you can make plays in different spots and make different types of plays. Without question, the biggest number that stood out to me with his statistics were the block punts. You like guys that make plays. He also can cover kicks. He can do different things on special teams, but the fact that he can make big plays with getting to the football really, to me, shows a lot of reasons why he is such a talented player. It's not the fact that he can just do that with his athleticism, but he just has that knack for making big plays. I've touched on that quite a bit, but the block punts really stand out to me. Maybe that could be something that translates at the college level. Some guys are just really good at being able to time it or be able to line up at different spots. And when you get to the college level, the special teams coaches are even more detailed, a lot more detailed with where they place different guys, things they notice from watching film with the other teams. So you could see Zaquan really taking what he's already done at the high school level and then be even better at the next level once he gets better coaching, more detailed with schemes and just kind of moving around to different spots to try to maximize his potential. So where does he fit in at Miami as a freshman in 2024? look, Cameron Kitchens and James Williams are expected to leave Miami after this season. They're draft eligible. And if everything goes right, look for them to go ahead and move on to the NFL draft. Now, with that being said, that leaves a big opening for starting spots in 2024. And Zaquan, to me, fits right into that mix, a potential starter from day one when he steps in. Because as we've seen right now, and we will see how the season goes along, there is not a proven number 3 safety at Miami right now. There's young guys looking to make plays and kind of get more playing time and really establish themselves. So maybe as the season goes on, there will be a spot that will be more locked in, and Zaquan will be more in a battle. But as it stands right now, Miami's got 3 young safeties that they're looking for to step up. Markeith Williams, a guy that Lance Guidry, defensive coordinator, has said knows the defense the best among the 3, but also noted that Jaden Harris has made more plays from interceptions. And this is stuff that Guidry said during fall camp at one point. And then also Brian Balaam is in the mix as well, as he's looking to kind of vault himself into more playing time. So there's 3 guys currently. As we know, everything can change with rosters from year to year. So we'll see how things go. But certainly if Kitchens and Williams have a season as expected and they do move on, which is expected, Zaquan Patterson certainly has an opportunity to start right away at Miami in 2024. So I think this is a big year for him as a senior to prepare himself all season long to be ready to step in at Miami, whether that's understand the playbook more, watch more film, whatever that might be, but just prepare himself so he is ready to step in day one and potentially be a starter, and certainly at the very least be an impact player, as I mentioned, on special teams. But certainly he's got to be one of those guys that can at the very least be a guy that's in the rotation at safety as a freshman. So what does Patterson's addition mean big picture for Miami's recruiting class? Look, he becomes the second top 100 player in the country to join Miami's class. That is certainly a positive. It is also a positive that he's the second top 10 player from Florida. You always want in-state players, and that's a good sign. He's also one of the most highly regarded players from South Florida. We all know that's important for Miami's recruiting class. And this, to me, is very important. He's now the 3rd player who's ranked in the top 5 at his respective position. You always want those top level guys, and Zaquan, without question, is one of those guys. The other thing I think that's going to be interesting to follow moving forward with his career is those other safeties ahead of him. You got KJ Bolden verbally committed to Florida State, and also Xavier Filsaime committed to Florida. So the top 3 ranked safeties currently in the 2024 class are all going to go to the Florida schools, the top 3 schools in Florida. So that's great to see. We will see how all of their careers go moving forward, but I think it's going to be fun to compare and see how the development goes with all 3 of those guys. Also, going back to Miami's recruiting class, Zaquan becomes the 5th defensive back that is committed to the class, the 4th safety, and really he could be the 6th overall defensive back and the 5th safety if you include Cameron Pruitt, who plays some safety but is also projected a little bit at linebacker. But regardless, a lot of safeties coming in. Zaquan, without question, to me, from what I've seen with those other guys, Zaquan is the best one of the group. So again, I like what I've seen from Zaquan. I think he has a bright future. This is great news for Miami's recruiting class moving forward. You want top level guys. Zaquan is one of those guys. We will see how it goes moving forward, but positive news for the Miami Hurricanes heading into the 2023 season, which starts next week. Can't wait to see how things go moving forward. Really excited to see how Zaquan does in his senior year. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Thanks again, and take care.